We are getting real close for Natchez, and I got to keep working on the camper. So right now I am making all the bed portion, so I got to start cutting these out. This is all just spare pieces that I have. I'll probably put some little cross braces of 2x2 in here since I'm not using full sheets. Got the bed portion all done up. This is all just scrap and scab pieces that I had left over. No point in buying extra plywood or anything like that for it. So underneath, it's braced, some of the joint pieces down here. And then you can see I have this another piece right here and two pieces on the side. And that is for the extension on the bed. So that guy will rest right there and right there. And I've already sat up here and I'm about 200 pounds and this holds me just fine. Might make another piece to slot in down in the middle, maybe to that back brace at an angle, so there is some support there, but this will definitely do in the meantime until we go to Natchez. So as of right now, I'm just trying to get as much as I can done on the camper to at least make it where we can bring it to sleep in. By no means is it going to be finished. I have to at least seal it and get a door on it, try to insulate the rest of the inside, and throw some walls up on the inside so it's not just bare wood. But as of right now, I'm trying to get the things that have to get done. Got a lot of stuff going on now. I've gotten and picked a few things up. Got the cabinets, as you can see. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. Both of these are probably not going to fit, and the depth I'm going to have to cut and customize. And then I got all the Flex Seal, probably going to need more. And then I got all the boards to make the door. I've got these panels right here. These are going to be used to skin the inside. And as you can see, I have a pretty good sized mess going on around here. Got all the edges routered, so all the edges are nice and perfectly square. Got the hole cut right here for the vent, and that is all routered out, so that's good to go. Been putting more insulation up, so all of these walls right here are all good to go. Up to this point, I still have to get some more for this front section for the roof, or the ceiling. So I have 3 panels up here, but I'm thinking one more sheet of 1.5 inches and then 1 sheet of 1 inch for this front portion, and all the insulation will be done. Today we're gonna go ahead and start working on the door. I got all these tongue and groove boards, so I gotta go through and find the good ones and line them all up and try to cut them and sand them, make them look pretty. And then I got to find some door hinge brackets, and then I'm gonna order up like a normal RV flush door handle with a lock on it. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this door. Got all the boards cut out. Like I said, these are all tongue and groove, so they're just pushed together right now. So the door is 75 inches tall, or 76 inches tall, and roughly 22.5 inches wide. So it's not a standard RV door size. I'm not exactly sure what a standard RV door is width-wise, but this is what I got. My measurements might taper slightly, so I'm gonna have to lay this out and do a tapered cut because I'm off probably roughly 1/8 of an inch up top. So now I'm gonna go ahead and dry fit this stuff, and I have some of this aluminum right here. This is just C-channel aluminum that's gonna cap all the way around basically the entire border. So I gotta go get some wider C-channel aluminum because it does not fit this board. It's just ever so slightly bigger, but I have some of this racking material, and just to give a kind of a concept, I'll be doing a full border all the way around this, and they'll all end up being slotted together just like this. Well, we're getting everything prepped. I'm using the air nozzle to blow off any excess dust on the camper, and we're getting ready to go ahead and throw our first coat of sealant on it. So I've gotten all the seams with caulking underneath, gotten everything best that I possibly can, got it ran down on every seam that I could possibly find, and it's almost time to start sealing this. We're getting the rollers prepped up right now, and then we're going to start pouring the Flex Seal into the 5-gallon bucket that we have. So she's getting the rollers ready right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 gallon at a time. So we're gonna do 1 gallon of white, and then basically measure out the black as needed per gallon. So if I have to go get more, it's easier to measure. So I'll grab some sort of cup and figure out until I get the gray that I like, and we'll go ahead and start sealing this camper up. This is gonna be the first coat we put on, and it says 24 to 48 hours roughly for cure time. So basically I'm just getting this surface as clean as I can, getting any little burrs like this off, just to make sure that there's nothing there to not adhere to properly, and then we can go ahead and throw our first coat on. So right now I'm slowly adding half a cup at a time, just to get the color gray that I want. We've used a very sophisticated measuring system with red Solo cups. Basically I've measured out to half a cup, 1 cup, and 2 cups, and I have a separate cup that I'm pouring into. Like I said, it's very sophisticated. So getting the first coat on, it's going on pretty good. Having to push it in the cracks a little bit to be able to make it fill properly, but not too much where it runs. Doing a few passes over it as it slowly dries to spread it out pretty good. But so far, 1 can is actually going quite far. We have the entire roof for the first coat done, all the way down to the front. And then we have the whole back portion and the door done. And I haven't even poured all of it into the little tub yet. And this is going on pretty good. Each can says that it does about 150 square feet. Honestly, unless I'm putting this stuff on thin, which I can't put it on much thicker until it starts running, but this stuff is covering pretty good so far. As it slowly kind of cures, you can tell the spots where the wood is peeking through, and I'm pretty sure that the plywood is going to end up soaking in quite a bit. But as long as it soaks in, that means it's definitely going to seal the wood up pretty good. So far, so good. Coming along pretty good so far. You can see the entire roof section has got its first coat. I have this whole side and the underside down here got its first coat, and I'm starting on this side now, and this stuff is filling in pretty nicely, as I was saying. So I'm going to start doing this whole side right here and then work my way to the front. And once the first coat's all on, we got to run to the store and grab a few pieces for the door, because I got the wrong ones originally, had to return them. They didn't have the right ones, so I have to go to a different one and throw the frame around this whole thing. These are just temporary little pieces that I had that fits. All right, the first coat is completely on, minus a few touch-up points, which we'll have to get a brush to do some of these corners. But this is the paint color. I've gone over and used basically 1 gallon and 2.5 cups of black mixed in. And I think it turned out pretty good. So we're gonna see how well this stuff dries and how much this soaks in. There's some spots, if you see, you can still see kind of the wood running through on a few of the spots. But once it dries and we throw a second coat, I think it'll turn out pretty good. I got some of the seams up here. This stuff's already drying pretty quick, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it until tomorrow and see how dry it is and throw a second coat on. Well, it's the next morning and the first coat is still slightly, very slightly tacky, but it definitely settled into the wood. There's a few spots that we have to go over with a paintbrush on some of the corners, but for the most part, this stuff does very well so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on the second coat and get mixing. And then tomorrow we'll put the third coat on and she'll be good to go. Got the second coat put on and gonna let this dry real quick too. This stuff does kind of get everywhere, and this stuff does harden fairly nice. This is the brush from yesterday and I can't even get it out. So this stuff gets pretty thick and it is definitely a rubberized material. Time for the third and final coat. This stuff is pretty thick so far. There's some spots that I gotta fill in with a brush and really get it in there so it makes a nice even coat. But even covering all the screws, this stuff works really well. I mean, I think this stuff alone is gonna help insulate the camper as well. I mean, I could be wrong, but this stuff's drying pretty nice. It is a full rubberized coating. I can't say yay or nay on how well it legitimately seals because I haven't used it yet. But I think what I'm gonna do is I actually am gonna have a good amount left over. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here and just throw 1 coat over top of the wood for the bed area, just so we're not throwing the mattress straight on top of the wood. And then whatever else I have left, I might kind of dabble around as I'm putting things up and, you know, maybe make it a little bit darker in here or something like that. But so far this is turning out pretty good. I got the door frame all coated as well. Not too worried about that. But I gotta fill in some more of these cracks with a brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing the third and final coat all on this thing. So the bucket cleans up pretty good, and just to give people some perspective on the Flex Seal, this is how it dries. I mean, it is literally like the outside casing of a basketball, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it is straight up, this is the thinnest part, but it's straight up rubber. And obviously the bucket being an extremely smooth surface, it kind of peels off pretty easy. But on the camper, being that it can actually soak into the wood, it can adhere to itself after it's soaked into the wood. So I have no doubt in my mind that this is not going to be just peeling off anytime soon. Last coat's on the camper. Now it's just time to let it dry. And then go ahead and get on the door and get the rest of this thing going. Because I got T-minus 4 weeks. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this build so far. There's going to be a lot more after Natchez. All the interior, everything else. I'm just worried about getting the exterior so we can sleep on it. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this, kind of following along with it. And hopefully this works out. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to do something else with it. But as always, stay off-road.
Start it up.